Hi everyone, this is Kyle with kayDbait. I'm going to be doing another video. This will be video 5 of how to debate. This one's going to be on how to analyze the other person's argument. You have articulated yourself, you have expressed all of your points, and now the rebuttal. And the rebuttal is one of the hardest parts because you have to, as a person, listen. And when you are trying to be listened to, it is difficult to put that down and allow the other person to speak and to actually try to understand what they say, because most people go into a debate, as I've said before, trying to win. And listening to the other side and not just trying to tear it apart the entire time is very difficult for some people. Because most of the time, the most adamant speakers are also the most, not dogmatic, but most sure of themselves. And if you're sure of yourself, then you're probably not going to be trying to find better ways to look at or different ways to look at what you already agree or believe in. And that's problematic. So when you're trying to analyze somebody else's argument, what you have to do is legitimately listen. That is the important part of it. That is like the only part of it, where if they make a good argument, if they make a fair argument, and if they make a reasonable argument, and you can have a rebuttal, you can have, a rebuttal to their rebuttal, you can have a response that is in disagreement with them, because a reasonable argument is not necessarily the correct argument. And if yours is reasonable as well, then all you have to do is not reiterate yourself, because repeating yourself is not adding to the thing unless they missed something. But if they responded properly to yours, then you must respond properly to theirs. You can't just say they're wrong and then you repeat yourself. So the best way to do this is to formulate not just your argument, but the potential counter arguments and then the counters to those. And that can go several layers deep, because when you try to articulate an argument, you have to assume that there will be counters. And if you do not, and you just assume you're correct 100%, you're not giving the other side a fair chance. But there are logical steps that are used for refining an argument. So if I were to say that this game is better than this game, and you give all the points of why, and then they counter with, well, those points, well valid, are not for everybody, and this one's more universal, this one's easier. It's like the hardcore gamer versus the casual gamer. Bejeweled is considered the best game ever because it's the most widely played. Or this game's the most widely accepted because it has the most, it was won awards for its plot. And this one, and you can do all of these things, and they're all valid, reasonable arguments. But in the end, you have to define what best is. And if you can't do that, then you will never agree. And not agreeing does not mean you lose, because as long as you still learn and you you can associate their reasoning with your reasoning and be able to progress from there. And that's what a debate is for, is progression. And you can disagree. Disagreeing is a part of life. My views, my values are different than yours. No amount of debate will necessarily change that, because you are not debating to change that. And if you were, then you're probably just a manipulative person anyway. You should not do that. So what you like and your value system is different than what my value system is. So you can have the perfectly reasonable arguments, but what you value in your arguments may not be what I value. And if that's all you're going off of, then you're going to have a very difficult time in even being able to see the other side. I'll use the casual versus hardcore gamer example again. I like casual games that are fun to play when I'm trying to relax and when I'm trying to socialize. But I like difficult games that have a long-standing arc for when I want to be immersed in something. when I want to be able to feel challenged. And there's a lot of people that are like that. They want the simple game for when they're trying to just waste time, like on their iPhone. But then when they're at home and they just feel like, hey, I want to be immersed in this world of whatever, and they play some difficult RPG game as opposed to a casual point and click game. And there are different people that like different things. And those are the kinds of things you have to be able to say in your debate. If you can't say those things, if you feel that they're not relevant, then you have to find out what is relevant. What is their argument? What is the meaning of life? You can debate that for, months, maybe even years, maybe your entire life, and never come to an agreement with one other person. But that doesn't mean you didn't progress from those arguments. And that's the important part. So analyzing the other person's argument is what I've been saying is how to make your own argument from the other side. Understanding what they're trying to say, why they're trying to say it, and then being able to internalize or reflect on it. It's very difficult to do. It's not something everyone can do, but you can practice it. Have a discussion about something you disagree with or even mildly agree with already with somebody that you can have an intellectual discussion with and bounce ideas back and forth, but do not interrupt. Do not have preconceived ideas about what they're trying to say. And if you do not know what they're saying, or if they say something incorrectly, give them the benefit of the doubt first. If they continuously do it, you can start, pushing a little bit of saying, what do you mean? Rephrase that now, because I don't get it and you keep messing up. People that are not articulate need more leeway. People that are very articulate need to be told to slow down a little bit. I tend to speak quickly when I have a lot of information on a subject, and some people might get lost in that. If I do that, I need to slow down. It's not that you guys are incapable of understanding, it's I'm doing it too quickly. But if I'm doing it too slow or sloppily, then you have to ask me to refine what I said. If I said something vague, ask me to clarify. If I said something very specific that you don't understand, ask me to clarify. And that's an important part. Instead of assuming, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I think I understand what you said, I'm not going to ask though, that's not correct. That's not the way to learn. Many arguments are caused by misinterpreting or not understanding what the other person was trying to say or do. And that is actually one of the main problems in relationships, is that's not what I meant, or why don't you listen? It's not that I don't know how to listen, it's that I don't understand you and I'm embarrassed to ask. Or, problems in communications beyond those things. There are a lot of reasons for hardship between two people, whether it's a physical kind of intimate relationship or a casual friendship, that can be burdened because you don't know how to interact, whether it be a difference in opinion that is too great, or a difference in the way you interpret words or phrases. And when you can't stop and just say, please clarify, then there's a problem and you have to address it. And most of the time, I will ask, can you please rephrase that? It bothers some people. It's like, why don't you understand what I mean when I say it? Because I'm not you. I don't come from the same place as you. I want to understand you better. And people might be offended by me saying something like, we're different, but our upbringings are different. I do not know you. You do not know me. I try to be clear, but sometimes there is a mistranslation between what I say and what you believe I said, and I do not want those. I do not try to have those. Some people try to have those so they can have you fill in the dots, and that way they'll agree with you more. But that's not the way to learn. And that's what debate is about, is to learn. So you have to not have that gap in language and understand. Bridge it with slowing down and becoming at least closer, build a bridge, build a language bridge. Explain what your words mean. Explain what you mean when you say a certain phrase. Explain your upbringing a little bit. That way people can understand where you're coming from. And that is how you can best analyze them and be understood by them. So that's this video. That was the topic of analyzing other arguments, and that'll be today's video. Peace.